I know you've heard my name before.
Act bad, come on. Little bad bitch, all she do is act bad.
John Diddy Combs has been taken into federal custody.
I just can't be loving you no more.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I'm a big dreamer, so there may have been times where I was dreaming too big and took my eye off the prize of the first floor, I would say, in the building. Kinda hard with you not around. Know you in heaven, smiling down.
I'm the guy who's at the front of the band, and there's so many people within the company that are part of this.
Well, I don't want to feel this way. I got too many bills to pay. Gotta keep them there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
I just can't be loving you no more.
Court documents now reveal authorities located AR-15s, narcotics, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil lubricant in those raids.
Sometimes I rhyme slow, sometimes I rhyme quick.
Diddy is so scared of the Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center that he offered the court $50 million in bail. But guess what? The judge was like, nope. Now Diddy is placed on suicide watch in jail, y'all. Let me break it down for you. This ain't just about some rap beef or celebrity drama. Diddy's locked up on charges that make R. Kelly and Epstein look like amateurs. But guess what? The media's been real quiet about what's really going on behind those bars. They're talking about racketeering, sex trafficking, even arson.
John Diddy Combs has been taken into federal custody.
But let me tell you, what the news ain't saying is where the real tea is at. This man had a whole secret empire, running things way darker than anyone thought.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
Diddy's charges sound like some mafia movie, but this is real life. Let's break down what he's really facing. First up, racketeering. This ain't just regular crime, it's organized crime. The feds say Diddy was running a whole criminal empire, pulling strings and getting his hands dirty with everything from bribery to freaking arson. Yep, you heard right, arson. They say he bragged about using a Molotov cocktail to torch someone's car as part of his dirty business. Wild, right? Now, sex trafficking, this is where it gets even messier. Diddy's accused of coercing women into sex acts, calling them freak-off parties. And we ain't talking about no regular parties. These were twisted events where women were allegedly forced into doing things they didn't even know were being recorded. He used his power and influence to trap them, feeding them drugs, then turning around and using the footage to blackmail them. It's like he was running a whole underground operation right under everyone's noses. And let's not forget the transportation for prostitution. Diddy allegedly moved women across state lines for these freak-offs, making it even worse. But wait, it gets worse. Diddy didn't do this all by himself. We're about to expose the crew that helped him keep this whole operation running in the shadows.
Act bad, come on. Little bad bitch, all she do is act bad.
So Diddy wasn't just making hits. He was running a whole crime ring on the low. And let me tell you how he pulled it off. See, on the surface, Diddy looked like a straight-up music mogul, making his coins with Bad Boy, his fashion lines, and all them parties.
I'm a big dreamer, so there may have been times where I was dreaming too big and took my eye off the prize of the first floor, I would say, in the building.
But behind all that, he was supposedly running some shady business. His whole business empire, just a front. He had a whole crew of people helping him cover up his dirt. I'm talking about security guards, assistants, even his close staff. They wasn't just keeping folks safe, they were booking hotels for his freaky parties, cleaning up after and making sure nobody said a word. Now, Diddy knew how to play the game when it came to manipulating folks. He would lure girls in, talking about, I can make you famous, or I'ma take your career to the next level. But once they were in, he flipped it. Some of these women were allegedly drugged up to keep them under control and if they stepped out of line. He threatened to ruin their whole career. Oh, and the worst part? He recorded those freaky parties and used the tapes to blackmail them so they couldn't talk. He kept them trapped, scared to speak out. And don't even get me started on the violence. Diddy wasn't shy about putting hands on these women either. They say he'd hit, kick, and drag them by their hair if they didn't want to play along. Then he'd pump them full of drugs to keep them in line and dependent on him. Now the real tea is, how did he keep this whole operation on the low for so long? Well, sit tight, because we're about to break down who helped him keep his mess hidden.
Kinda hard with you not around. Know you in heaven, smiling down.
Diddy wasn't out here moving solo. Nah, some of the biggest names in the game were in on this. It's like a whole VIP list of shady business. Let's talk about Lucian Grange and Universal Music Group first. Lucian is one of the most powerful dudes in the music industry.
I'm the guy who's at the front of the band, and there's so many people within the company that are part of this.
And word on the street is that he was allegedly funneling money into Diddy's empire, knowing all about what was going on behind closed doors. Yeah, you heard that right. Diddy's not just running a music label, he's running a whole operation. And some of these top execs knew exactly what he was up to. It's like they were funding his dirty deeds while pretending to be all about the music. Lucian might have been looking the other way while Diddy was throwing these freak-offs and manipulating people with his power. The crazy part? Universal Music Group was bankrolling it all. At least that's what the allegations say. But it wasn't just the big bosses in the music biz. Diddy had law enforcement in his back pocket too. Allegedly, he was paying off police officers to keep things quiet. Whenever someone tried to snitch or when things started getting too hot, these officers would cover it up, making sure no real investigation got off the ground. Diddy's people said he'd have cops straight up at his freak-off parties, probably to keep an eye on things or scare folks into silence. Can you imagine? The same people who are supposed to protect you are out here protecting Diddy's dirty secrets instead. He allegedly bribed hotel security, paid off witnesses, and had these cops cleaning up his messes. And now that the FBI is all up in this, the big question is, will these execs and corrupt cops face justice too? I mean, Diddy couldn't have run this whole operation on his own. The deeper you go, the messier it gets. Stick around because we're about to dive into how far Diddy's reach really went. Will these big names finally get caught up in the fallout? It's about to get even wilder.
Well, I don't want to feel this way. I got too many bills to pay.
1,000 bottles of baby oil, AR-15s with scratched off serials, and tapes nobody was supposed to see. The FBI done found it all, and it's crazier than you think. Girl, let me tell you, when the FBI ran up in Diddy's cribs down in Miami and LA back in March 2024, they didn't just come to play, they was ready for all the smoke. And baby, what they found? They came across over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lube. Yes, you heard me right. Like, what kind of mess was this man into? We already know about them wild freak-off parties, but this right here, next level nasty. And if that ain't enough, they found guns. Not just any guns either. AR-15s, with the serial number scratched off. You already know that's a big deal. That man had some heat stashed like he was gearing up for war. Not just hosting music execs. Like, come on now, Diddy, what was you even doing?
Court documents now reveal authorities located AR-15s, narcotics, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil lubricant in those raids.
But hold up, it gets worse. The most messed up thing they found? Them tapes. Yeah, the ones with all the nasty stuff he was forcing folks to do. The FBI scooped up all that footage, and now it's going to be used against him in court. You know those tapes are showing some serious dirt. Sex trafficking, coercion, the whole ugly truth. Now here's the real tea. With all this evidence stacked against him, will Diddy even make it to trial, or is he going to try to weasel his way out? Don't go nowhere, because next, we gonna break down whether Diddy's money and power can keep him from finally facing the music.
Gotta keep him there.
Right.
You need locks on the doors.
Okay, this is sounding kind of dangerous now.
Diddy's first few days locked up hit so hard they had to put him on suicide watch. When they took Diddy in after them serious charges, he ain't just sitting pretty. Word on the street is they had to put him on suicide watch at that Brooklyn jail. Now, his team is out here saying it's just a preventative measure, but it's still wild to think about. The man who had it all, now locked up in a place they're saying ain't even fit for nobody. His lawyer's been talking about how bad the Brooklyn Detention Center is, saying it's not safe, and definitely not somewhere Diddy should be waiting for trial. And boy, he tried to throw money at the problem like he always does. Diddy offered up a whole $50 million bail package, thinking that would get him out. But nah, the judge wasn't having it. They shut it down quick, saying he's too much of a flight risk. With the kind of money and power Diddy got, they worried he'd just hop on one of his private jets and disappear. His lawyers tried to argue he gave up his passport and wasn't no threat, but the judge wasn't convinced. So now he's stuck behind bars, probably thinking of all the ways he could have avoided this mess.
I know you've heard my name before.
But this ain't even the worst part. Trust me. There's one more dark twist to this whole situation, and you're not going to want to miss what's coming next.
They won't even give me a permit for the parties, man. They don't want me to throw the parties no more. But we ain't gonna stop. We gonna keep on having fun, bringing people together from all walks of life.
Y'all remember Cassie, right? The one who stuck by Diddy's side for years? Well, after that crazy night in 2016, things changed for good. It all started with those text messages. After allegedly assaulting her, Diddy was blowing up her phone saying things like, "Call me. The cops are here. I got 6 kids. You gonna abandon me all alone?" Now, these messages ain't just receipts. They're evidence. The prosecution is leaning heavy on this, using it to prove Diddy's pattern of control and violence. But it didn't stop there. The real bomb dropped when Cassie filed that lawsuit. You see, her case wasn't just about getting some cash or exposing his toxic ways. No, her lawsuit lit the match that started this whole investigation. After she came forward with the ugly truth about what really went down, more victims stepped out of the shadows. Cassie's story gave them the courage to speak up, and now Diddy's facing a whole list of charges, including sex trafficking and racketeering. Cassie settled her lawsuit real quick, but it wasn't over. That settlement might have given her some closure, but for Diddy it opened the door to a flood of accusations. The feds didn't stop investigating just because she got her money. In fact, they went deeper, and now Cassie's a key witness in this case. The things she knows and the experiences she's shared are all being used to build the prosecution's case against him. So yeah, Cassie may have walked away, but what she left behind could be the nail in Diddy's coffin. The girl who once stood by him might just be the one to help take him down. Now that's all we have for now, but you hit that sub button and we'll keep you updated with everything that's about to go down.
I can never ever be no one option. Pull up on me, but no blocks. Now you wanna say you want to talk.